Welcome one, welcome all to episode 207 of the Xbox Expansion Pass, recorded on Saturday, December 9th, 2023. I am your host, Luke Lohr, the Insipid Ghost, joined by my co-host, the intrepid Captain Logan. And in this episode, we discuss the Game Awards, Xbox victories and defeats from this year. Lots of reveals and letdowns, I would say, to be sure. Of course, Grand Theft Auto 6 showcased its first trailer as well. As always, we hope you enjoy the show. Logan, we like to start the show by offering words of kindness to those who have made our gaming weeks better. But first, how are you, my friend?
I am good. I was up late last night playing Baldur's Gate 3 and working on show notes. And I'm awake now, but dude, trying to get out of bed was like, oh God, why do I have to get out of bed? And then I was like, okay, Luke needs me. I have to get up. I need to get I need to get coffee. I need to get going. Dude, what a flippin' week this has been, man. We talked about it last week about all the game updates that were coming. This week is the week of all those game updates that are hitting, plus announcements, plus the Game Awards. It's insane, dude. I don't know how we're going to keep this like as truncated an episode as possible, because I feel like I could be talking about this for hours, but I know we want to keep it nice and tight and clean. So I'm having a good week. How about you?
I'm having a great week as well. There really was a lot that happened for things that I wasn't initially interested in. Like the Game Awards, they're ripe with controversy. They're ripe with things that are frustrating, things that should be celebrated. Of course, this year brought even more controversy than I think I've seen ever.
I know.
Specifically about stuff that is not about the games, right? Like you can always argue winners and losers, but this year brought a lot of outside of the playing of games controversy, which I'm really tired of and fascinated by, particularly given that now that we've had the award show, there are talking points. And then of course, Grand Theft Auto 6, they just showed their trailer not at the Game Awards. So clear, like to me, there's tinfoil hat discussion there. There's a lot, but before we dive in, because we know we're gonna go, and last week we totally forgot our patrons last week. I do want to say my words of kindness very quickly to John Wall from Midlife Side Quest. He was very kind in giving me a wonderful shout out on his show, a good 15-minute show a week, which I like. It's like a perfect amount of time to just get a quick snippet in there. He launched his show on YouTube, but he gave me very kind words about my late dog, which I really appreciated. And he joined our Discord as well, and it's nice to see good people joining and just chatting games. That's the best part. So I appreciate John Wall this week. It really made me happy there. How about you, man?
I have two people, and it's mostly because of what they do for the industry. Since this is us talking about the Game Awards and celebrating the developers, I wanted to kind of celebrate some of the content creators as a content creator myself. So the first one goes to Jeff Keighley for getting the Game Awards to be a thing, because if not for the Game Awards, like we wouldn't even, he's been doing it for 10 years. It's not the right formula yet, but he's still messing with the recipe. And as a dude who basically broke off from E3 to do his own thing, I'm still constantly impressed with the scope and scale of what he's trying to do, and he'll get it right. And before you know it, like we'll be talking about how amazing the Game Awards and how it's really come a long way, and it's become the No Man's Sky of Game Awards and E3 showcases. But the other one that I wanted to dump into our list of thanking was Jeff Rubinstein. And the reason for it is when Larry Herb left Xbox, along with him was the Free Code Friday. And I sorely missed that, because I actually got some really good games as a result of the Free Code Friday, games that I probably wouldn't have actually checked out. And because of that, I really was sad when he left, because it's like it was a good way to kind of connect with the community and use some of Microsoft's money to kind of give out some love, especially in a week where there's always like something fresh or new to play, and you're not, you may not have the $70 to spend on it. And the Free Code Friday was always a really good opportunity to drive engagement, but also give a good reward. And Jeff has brought that back, and he's brought it
Mhm.
back in a really kind of nice way. They do it through the Xbox podcast to
Mhm.
pose the question, but the question is separate from the actual like X, which is nice because it lives in their realm.
Mhm.
But the fact that they do it is great. So what they do is they'll have their podcast, and then they'll have a actual section for the question of the week, and they actually chapter mark it in their YouTube video. So even if you don't necessarily have time to watch all of it, but you still want to participate with it, they're kind enough to not try and like obfuscate the where it's at in the podcast.
Mhm.
They actually like mark it out. Hey, this is the question of the week. And this week it was Cyberpunk 2077, and I was really surprised and happy that they did it, because I think it's a tremendous game. It's really come a long way as an
Mhm.
ongoing game to be able to like have the updates that it has. You didn't bite on that. I was really hoping you were going to bite on on the ongoing game joke.
Oh no, that's one of my. I do think that is not an ongoing game, and you and I have a difference of opinion there. It pisses me off to no end that that ongoing game goes to a game because it gets updates,
Yeah,
not content, not live service. It really pisses me off.
I'm just
Because
playing heel on that one, because honestly, I agree with you. But
oh my gosh, that pisses me off to no end. A live service game takes such a different style of work, and that award should go to the teams that are servicing a community that is
it's okay.
consistently ongoingly gay. No, it's not okay, and
Goose
I'm not
Fraba,
all right with it.
Goose
It's
Fraba.
ridiculous.
So
I
I
give a
want
Rudy poo about
to.
the game awards and their live service updates.
So,
Take
but
that award, turn it sideways, and shove it right. Okay, sorry.
so so Jeff, he's brought back the free code Fridays. If people don't know about that and you missed
Mhm.
it and you haven't been keeping up with the Xbox podcast, it's there now. Please go give them a listen to. They've been bringing on different guests for their cheese couch, and it's honestly it's just fun. It's a good time. I love what they're doing with the podcast. I think it's way more personal than it has been in the past, and I think it's a much more compelling product for me personally. It may not be what everyone's a cup of tea is, but I enjoy the new format. I enjoy the new focus on bringing on different. Stein was just on there like last week,
Oh,
and
that's cool.
Malik was on this week, and it's
I
like
love
people it's cool people coming in to talk about Xbox, and that's a good conversation.
Yeah, no, that is good. I really like Jeff a lot. He's been very kind to me this year as I've kind of got to know him via email,
Nice.
which is a small creator is appreciated, right? Like we are
Yeah.
not the biggest. Oh, shout out to YouTube listeners. We had our biggest week of YouTube listeners
Hmm.
ever on XEP without it
Oh,
being an
cool.
interview or a spotlighted, spotlighted interview. This was just a general episode. Best week ever.
That's awesome.
And it feels great. It feels so good. And I'm so appreciative of all of you on watching on YouTube and listening on audio and stuff. But to see like a boost is really neat.
Yeah.
Like we're on the eve of 100,000 downloads, which is really cool. Like just little
Wow.
stuff means a lot, right?
Yeah.
But what is that in the terms of content creation? What does that mean for the bigger content creators? Not a lot to some, so it's huge to me. But for Jeff to be responsive and kind, it just means a lot. And I've had Malik on the show before, and he's a great dude.
Yeah, he's cool.
Yeah, and so I'm just grateful uh, for that. So that's a great shout out. I really appreciate that, and I do agree that Keeley does deserve credit for what he has done. I don't agree with plenty. I think there's plenty
And
of controversy, but like we need him in the industry until somebody else takes that banner.
yeah, and I want to get into a little bit of that in the actual proper show too, because I have some feedback and some kudos that I want to give as well too.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Well, tell you what, let's go ahead and read our patrons who
Yeah.
are the people that keep the lights on and the content coming. We are grateful for them. Thank you so much, guys, especially around the holidays. I know money's tight, but it really does help us as we work to better our show, get stuff for coverage, technologies, things like that. Logan, it is your turn to read this week.
Is it? Okay. All right. So again,
Mm-hmm,
thank you to the tier 2 and tier 3 shout outs. This week it is Nicholas Johnson, Ellery Woods Parker III, Nicholas Downey, Rob Frawley II, Tao Zochi, Xbox Skittle, Steel Rain, Matto 1606, Randall Thor 19, Silkenit, Rick Gaffney, African aka Charles Jones, Game Positive, Jam Pack Sam, Matt Valdez, Neo Prime 33, Rick Davis, Red Beast, Xbox Mike 29, The Lord, Sir, Master James Suddy, Brendan Myers, aka The Winter Gamer, Sony's VP of Marketing, Kevin Butler, Clint Coombs, DJ Hero, and Dano12. Thank you all so much. Please remember, head over to patreon.com/Xbox Expansion Pass if you have some free cash, or if you're just looking to share the love this holiday season. It always helps out Luke in making sure that he can kind of start putting money away for stuff for future endeavors that we are working on.
There we go. I appreciate it, guys. I appreciate all of you. Well, Game Awards have come and gone, ripe for controversy. We touched on it early on, and I think there's a lot of ways that we could approach this one. But I will start by saying, as far as Xbox is concerned, they had a killer successful night, a fantastic evening for Xbox fans and Xbox coverage. Brought with it some frustrations for sure. But in terms of like victories, I think Xbox and Xbox fans certainly had plenty of victories that they can hang their hat on from the evening. I will quickly mention that we saw Hellblade 2 and got a release window of 2024.
Yeah.
We had the pseudo announcement. It was shadow dropped, but there's a lot of controversy for how. But Baldur's Gate 3, the game of the year across its nominations, is now available on Xbox. We had Marvel Games on stage showcasing an Arcane Leon, which is an Xbox-owned studio project for Blade that is in the works, which is pretty darn exciting. And Xbox had a lot of, in general, just good vibes being thrown its way. Is there anything I missed in there?
Dude,
OD,
Kojima
right.
and Jordan Peele, like the Xbox project that we've heard rumors of was announced. And we got that full like kind of meta-human CG looking realistic wild thing that Kojima's making a horror game, and Greg over at Kinda Funny 100% called it somehow. It was crazy that he actually did that, but yeah, OD looks like it's going to be insane. We got more confirmation of just like more and more Japanese love for Xbox with Persona titles. We got the Metaphor, which is done by Atlas, Persona 3 Reloaded, which was I'm pretty sure we knew that was coming as well too. Just it was a really, really good night for Xbox on a night where typically like Xbox does not get the hits. Like we get hardware, and I talked about it last week. I was expecting hardware announcements, and we didn't. We got games, man. We got actual games that are coming to Xbox, and it's kind of nuts because it's like we already kind of know what we're getting for the next year. Now we know kind of what we're getting for like the next 2 years, and that's kind of bonkers.
Yeah. Let's there are a lot of ways to approach the incredible night that Xbox had, but I'd like to start with Hellblade 2 because it was at the Game Awards that Hellblade 2 was announced alongside the Xbox Series S or just the X at the time. And a bonkers trailer with a bonkers song from Heilung and the excitement of what Ninja Theory is capable of doing, because that first Hellblade was so special. And if any listener here has not played Hellblade 1, strongly encourage you to turn off the lights, put on your headphones, take a Xanax, and really figure out just what Hellblade is about, because it can seemingly look like a God of War-esque game, but it's not. It's far more impactful, I suppose, than that, because it deals with psychosis and what someone who suffers psychosis might go through. But to see this trailer, which to me showcases that this game is going to have more action than the first, which makes me very excited. was stunning and impressive, and I encourage you guys to go watch it in the best fidelity possible. Like if you watched it on a live stream, you didn't see the best that this trailer had to offer, but this was, if not the best, certainly among the top 3 of most visually impressive games I've ever seen in my life, which is neat because I feel like I've said that a few times in the past 5 years, which is awesome. You want that, but like Alan Wake 2 set a precedent for me. The Avatar Pandora. The Pandora game that just came out is
Frontiers of Pandora or
Frontiers.
Is it
Frontiers of Pandora?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That just came out and is showcasing some really cool stuff. But Hellblade 2 is special in its visuals, and I'm really fascinated to see kind of how that looks upon release, particularly as Grand Theft Auto 6 is set to be such a stunner. This one was a powerful trailer, and I think it really spotlighted. We're going to get a lot more combat in Hellblade 2, which is what I want as a player. Deal with the themes, but also give me stuff to do.
Yeah, this one was kind of nuts. I'm watching the video right now just to kind of go back. It's been wild to see the discourse online about people being like, "No, this is cinematic. This can't be real. You know, it's not a real game. Blah 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 blah." And I'm like, I don't know, dude. I played through some of the first one and ended up stopping at one point because I think something else came out that drew my attention away.
Mm-hmm.
But this game just looks magnificent, and it can, because you're not going to like a GTA 6 sized city where you have tons and tons of people. You've got a half dozen of people on screen at one time, so you can have that really beautiful look. But I absolutely love the fact that they're continuing to push this game. This is going to be one of those games that just everyone really loves, and it's just it really is a showcase on what you can do with art. And it's great to see that that's still confirmed for 2024.
I fully agree, man. I fully agree. I'm glad it's on track because as far as the Xbox slate of releases, this year brought a lot of titles, big and small, like, from Age of Empires and the games that were originally PlayStation exclusive, like Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo.
Yeah.
It brought Hi-Fi Rush being shadow dropped, Redfall, which of course gave a black eye to the slate, but has had some pretty good updates of late. Minecraft Legends, and then of course Starfield and Forza rounded out the year to high acclaim. I would argue. Really, really think Xbox had a wonderful year in terms of software.
Mm-hmm.
Next year, we know about Microsoft Flight Simulator 24. We now know Hellblade is confirmed to be 2024. Yep. We know about Towerborn, and I think that's it for first party confirmed.
Is Clockwork Revolution, is that going to be 2024?
No, I don't know that that's confirmed. Okay. I don't know that anything else is confirmed because
I really want to play that, man.
Could be Fable, could be Clockwork Revolution, could be South by Midnight. I don't know, right? Like I'm not like arguing that they are, but with this Game Awards now done and gone, and no big award spotlight, anything. Okay, I would think we know 2024's biggest releases, and they're keeping other things just kind of on.
Which, I mean, that's 4.
Is it 4?
That's
Towerborn, Fable, Microsoft Flight Simulator, Hellblade.
Yeah.
The worst part is my judgmental ass is like, Flight Sim. like get out of
here. It's not your bag, but dude, you cannot deny how amazing the way they've built that game compared to the 1995 self version of me, where I'm like, oh my God, I'm driver playing. This is so cool. It looks so realistic. Mm-hmm. And now I'm looking at it and I'm like, dude, we've come so far.
Yeah. No, certainly. And it's one of those things, like sometimes in the gaming industry, we use games to showcase technology. And then as gamers, we get more excited about the technology. But like, I never really wanted to play. Like Flight Sim's really cool. Not my thing. Forza Motorsport, really cool. Glad I checked it out. But like, not my thing.
I think, it's going to appeal to a certain group of people, but it's one of those things that no one else in the games industry is doing this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, it's good that at least Microsoft is going to continue carrying that torch, because it is kind of their baby.
Mm-hmm.
No one else is going sim heavy on like flight simulators or racing simulators too much. Like GT7's like the only other one, you know, Nintendo's not going to bother with that. So it's cool that in a genre that tons and tons of people actually really love. Like if you look at simulators, like Power Wash Simulators, kind of the joke, but dude, House Flipper, PC Maker, you know, you've got the lawn mowing simulator, you've got just like tons and tons of like farming simulator, trucking simulators. Like those simulators do really, really well with people who are looking to like just have that as their staple. Like they want to test their skills as actual trade professionals for those things. And it's like, dude, that's there for them, and not too many other companies are actually doing that. So I know it's not an us thing, but it is definitely someone's bag, and it's the best version of that you could probably ask for.
You're absolutely right, and I can't argue a single point there. But nonetheless, still cool to see that we know 4 titles for Xbox next year.
Yeah.
I'd bet good money we get another in there, but that's a conversation for a different day. Nonetheless, I'm excited by that. I wish that we had gotten a stronger window for Hellblade, because I feel like it should be earlier in the year, just given how much we've waited. But also, like, all right, cool, that's fine. I got plenty on my plate.
Yeah.
From first and third party this year, so I certainly can't be upset there. The other Xbox announcement that I thought was interesting and cool that I didn't feel was for me was Hideo Kojima's game. Really big deal that Hideo Kojima is making a game with Xbox Game Studios. That is not to be undersold. I mean, he truly is a legend in the gaming industry. But I feel every time Jeff Keighley speaks about him, it actually diminishes Kojima's light. And this game did not impress me in the slightest, despite good visuals. And I really was just like, all right, I'm over this real quick.
Yeah.
But you had a different take, maybe?
No, so and this is coming from someone who hasn't played like all of his games, but what I see is the promise of something unique. And that is something that I think everyone gets excited about. I don't think anyone looked at that OD trailer and was like, oh my God, this is going to be the greatest game ever. And I think everyone was just like, okay, this is what he's doing with MetaHuman. Like the people that we saw were just CGI. It wasn't motion capture as far as we know. There hasn't been proof that it hasn't been, but it was realistic enough to show, like, if you take your mind and you say like, okay, everything that they did was just programmed like as an AI generation of MetaHuman, which is part of Unreal Engine 5, then that is the most realistic responses that I've seen, like conversation wise. Like the old man talking, he talks out of mostly like one side of his mouth. And that's not something that you typically see. Like if you go watch like a Bethesda game and people talking, like they're talking like Muppets, you know, and it's a very unique thing that is a human trait that is bridging that uncanny valley. And if he's going to do a horror game that's kind of like with that fidelity, with that kind of promise of like immersion, and bridging that uncanny valley, that is going to be a real showcase of a game. And the fact that it's an Xbox title says a lot about the trust that has been built between Hideo Kojima and Xbox and Phil Spencer and them, because, you know, that kind of helps solidifies like, okay, well, the partnership's there, the work is going to be done. Now we can start seeing things like Death Stranding finally making their way over to Xbox. Maybe we can start seeing Death Stranding 2 finally making their way over to Xbox when that gets done. You know, the next game from Kojima may not be a PlayStation exclusive. I think that's the thing that's really exciting about that.
That is exciting. I think it comes back to a similar set of talking points for me in that, like, it's like Flight Sim. I don't see a game I want to play, but I'm impressed by the technology. I'm appreciative of the impact.
Yeah.
You know, like, but I don't see something that Lohr wants to play.
I think we run into that a lot though, because this tends to be the same kind of conversation that we have on a regular basis with these game awards, is that what are the games that I'm personally invested in? And while not everything is going to hit, there will be something that hits for someone because of the breadth of what they offer.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the one thing that I think Xbox does really, really well.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. And as they work to rebuild and build gamer trust, which I continuously say, and this is not an Xbox tax argument, I'm over that so much, but I do think they are a little bit burned at the stakes for something that happened 10 years ago with the Xbox One, because they've corrected hardware, they've corrected software, they've corrected services, and it's just, it feels like, okay, they're still paying for it. So I appreciate that they do need to continue to build relationships, and Kojima is certainly a get, and that's awesome.
Oh yeah, that's amazing.
You know, I do like that, and mind you, to anyone listening, like, I've played all the Metal Gears, and I Metal Gear Solid 4 remains to me one of the most incredible gaming experiences of my life. But yeah, I wasn't interested in Death Stranding, and I'm not really interested in OD, if I'm being honest with you, at this point, right? Like, who knows? I was bothered by the amount of time spent talking to Kojima about Kojima on this game, and then to bring out Jordan Peele, who I adore. I love Jordan Peele.
Oh yeah.
But to see the amount of time and energy put into talking about this game with very little Xbox-esque spotlight, and the sacrifice that was time that could have been spent spotlighting developers, I guess I left with a sour taste in my mouth, despite it being a very good thing for Xbox.
Yeah. I definitely, I feel the same way too. And I'm not sure if you want to keep kind of working through some of the big announcements and kind of touch on those, or do you want to kind of like overall for the Game Awards kind of thing?
No, we'll loop back to the time spent on stuff, but I did think it was necessary to point in.
Yes,
point in there.
I do want to address that. Like when we kind of like summarize kind of how the Game Awards was presented, because I think that's an important conversation that needs to be shared.
Agreed.
But yeah, it was a lot of time. I think all the celebrities got a lot of time.
Pew. Shut up, Matthew. All right. Let's talk now about, I would argue, the biggest Xbox news of the night. And that is the announcement that Marvel Games, working in conjunction with Arcane Leon, known for Dishonored and known for Deathloop, are working together to make a game based on Blade, the Marvel hero. Very early in development. Ooh, exciting. Very, very exciting for sure to see this one. It was announced for two reasons. One, it's the 50th anniversary of Blade. Two, and more accurately, it's a big audience. And so Xbox is getting to show that they are working in conjunction with Marvel Games, who has built such a wonderful relationship with PlayStation by making 3 Spider-Man games at this point: Spider-Man 1, Spider-Man Miles Morales, and Spider-Man 2, and they are currently working on Wolverine. So to see Xbox get their Marvel Games title is really exciting. What has brought with it some controversy, which extends to several of these big announcements, is, is this an Xbox exclusive, or is Xbox, how much are they getting to control this IP versus Marvel? Obviously, this is years away. I would say 3 years at a minimum. Because
I would say 5 years.
5 years would be what I would expect, but 3 years at a minimum, right? Depending on the size of the game. Like, is this a game designed to combat Spider-Man, or is this meant to be a Dishonored Deathloop size game, like a smaller title or a big title? I don't know, right? And so a lot of questions here, but it is great to see Marvel Games working with Xbox to finally get a hero game from Xbox.
Man, God, that announcement, the trailer for it was amazing. Like, I didn't know what we were going in for and stuff. And the minute and a half ride that I was on, at the very end, it finally clicks, like why there's so many crucifixes, why the dude was so concerned about cutting his finger on the blade,
right?
And then you his comment about, don't worry, I'm not going to bite. It's like, it's such a benign comment, but in light of the context of the situation, you understand the gravity of the situation. Is like, oh my god. And then to see his teeth and the sunglasses, and he puts the glasses on, and he stands up, and he's got his guns, and he pulls his blade out, and it's like straight from the movie, and you're just like, we got this. We're in. Boy, dude, this is going to be a fantastic game. And they were super excited at the Game Awards to announce it too. They were super excited about the fact that they got to pitch it, that Marvel was down for it, and that now they're going to actually get to like the lights have been lit. Gondor has called for aid. We are going to be getting a Marvel superhero third-person single-player action adventure game for Xbox. And I there's no question in my mind that this is not an Xbox exclusive.
Well, so that's kind of the big kicker here, because one, I agree, it's really exciting to see. I loved the tone of the trailer. It really had me stoked for several reasons. But yeah, the question of is it exclusives has overshadowed all of the happiness, excitement, and it could be solved so easily by Microsoft by just putting up the logo or answering the question, but not on Xbox's website nor on Marvel's does it say Xbox exclusive.
Yeah.
And I have 3 theories in play here for why I think that is the case, none of which I necessarily think are justified, but I do think it. But you are steadfast in saying this is an Xbox exclusive.
Dude, this is an Xbox exclusive. There's no question in my mind. I don't have there's no like, if this was an Xbox or if this was a multi-plat game, I guarantee you that PlayStation would be trying to throw their logo on this as quick as possible, because they already have 2 major Marvel IPs in their bag. They need games right now. They need that publicity. And they have not. PlayStation doesn't have a Blade trailer up. It's not in their PlayStation playlist for the wrap up of the Game Awards. All of the other multi-plat games are. Even the former Xbox exclusive games like As Dusk Follows is now on their playlist. They've not tweeted about it. There's been no comment on it from them at all. Everyone's asking for confirmation from Xbox. Folks, it's a Bethesda game. Bethesda's making the okay? We know who owns Bethesda. It's Xbox. So I have no question in my mind. No, they have not put an Xbox logo on there. It is being done by Arcane Leon. It is being published through Bethesda. And guess who owns that? That deal's done. You can talk about Activision Blizzard King all you damn want. It's not going to change the fact that Bethesda is owned by Microsoft. And we know Starfield is exclusive. Y'all wanted to call that multi-plat because of previous and blah, blah, blah. Stupid. It's all stupid. It's exclusive. There's a reason why they bought the Bethesda ZeniMax stuff. And it's for cool opportunities like this. Because who knows if Arcane Leon would have been able to talk to Marvel about this in the past. We don't know. Could, maybe, possibly, doesn't matter. Xbox has got it on their playlist. They're the ones that are promoting it. They're the ones that have been like having the flowers for this. It's going to be Xbox exclusive. That's all there is.
For the record, I agree with you that it's Xbox exclusive. My theories as to why it's not. All right, and I have 3 potential ones. The first and most likely is that Microsoft is still involved in litigations regarding the FTC. The FTC is still coming after them, even post-acquisition, about exclusivity and mergers. There's a possibility that what they're trying to do is keep some of their bigger titles out of the line of fire, right? Out of the news, not giving the very weak case that the FTC has consistently brought, not giving them any ammunition. Okay. That's a strong reason why.
Okay.
I think it's there. The weaker but still possible would be that Marvel wants proof of concept and proof in the pudding that this game is of a certain caliber. without a doubt, Marvel has seen very high quality titles in Guardians of the Galaxy and the Spider-Man series. And that has been the current and modern Marvel games. Those are bar none incredible. And Bethesda has not produced a critically revered title like Guardians of the Galaxy or Spider-Man. And I think that's debatable, but I think, numbers are numbers. And if you're outside looking in and don't have stake in it, has Xbox made a Spider-Man-esque level experience? I would say no, even though I adore Xbox as a brand. They haven't made that third-person over-the-shoulder action game that is on that level. And the third and final is it's Xbox tax, Logan. It's Xbox tax season, and Jeff Keighley doesn't want to have that at his showcase. He refused to do it, and the media is anti-Xbox. So Xbox said, we know you're going to trash us because we're Xbox, and we're not putting our logo on there.
Of all the theories, that is the most sound, and I hate it.
You think that's a sound theory?
I do. I think the public perception means a lot to Xbox, and I think that to avoid the scrutiny that would come as a result of this, looking at Arcane Leon's history and trying to dig up all the failures to knock Xbox down on a peg, if there's that glimmer of hope that PlayStation could possibly get this, then everyone's going to shut the F up about it and not like talk badly about it. But to be honest, like I don't think that the Kamala Khan vengeance for Xbox has any weight to it. It doesn't feel like it. I don't think it's going to impact anything. And I don't think that this is going to be one of those situations where it's like there's obviously a reason. The Marvel approach, it could have some weight, but not for the game reasons that I think you brought up. I think Avengers and Guardians of the Galaxy, both multi-plat and both not critical successes. I think if anything, you would want to tout that this is going to be first party. This is going to be a AAA experience on the level of the exclusives that are the Spider-Man games.
I hope so, man. I'm excited.
I know you agree. I know you're with me on my part, so I'm not going to pressure you to try and play devil's advocate on this, but it's such a, I was saying this on Twitter. It's such a nothing burger over 90 seconds of content that it feels like people just need to get off their seat, go outside, sniff the grass or is it touch the grass? It's touch the grass. Touch the grass. They need to like go in, actually just kind of accept like it's okay if it's exclusive. If Sony was getting this, no one would have a heyday about this except for Xbox fans, and all the PlayStation fans would be like, stay in your lane.
Do you think Arcane has anything to do with why this isn't there, given that Redfall was Arcane's last game? Now, mind you, that was Arcane Austin. Yeah. And Arcane Leon is the one working on Blade. Arcane Leon Deathloop was in 2021. They co-developed and worked with Machine Games on Wolfenstein Youngblood and Cyberpilot. And then they worked on Dishonored, Death of an Outsider. Before that, Dishonored 2. Do you think that was a reason for not giving that Arcane Austin had such a disappointing launch with Redfall, which, by the way, is totally going to get Blade DLC at some point?
Yeah, of the two characters that are coming out, we don't know who those two story characters are. I would be very happy if Blade was one of them.
Or they call him like Sword or Cutting Object, Katana Man, and it's
Saber.
We have Blade at home.
I don't think that I really don't think that the studio's pedigree, because we have like other Disney IP being pushed out to other Xbox studios right now, and as a result, I mean, there's definitely hesitance, there's definitely concern as far as like caliber of game, but it does feel like this is one of those things where they understand the gravity and they're jazzed about it. Like I've never seen people so jazzed about making an announcement for something they've barely even gotten approved. So I have a feeling that they have a world that they want to build. It's their version of Paris. They have a story they want to tell, and they have a character that they were excited to get.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that no matter what happens, this is going to be their opportunity to really show that, you know, Dishonored, Deathloop, those games are great games functionality, but to really kind of rival stuff that like Insomniac is doing, this is their opportunity, and they really have to nail it.
I agree. I love the pressure that a Marvel Games brings to Xbox.
Yeah.
Because competition makes the best of us, and Xbox has certainly been working very hard to correct criticisms. And I want that third person over the shoulder action game that is as good as God of War, as good as Spider-Man. I want that from Xbox, right? Like, that's my favorite type of game. There's a reason why I love Arkham Knight. Luke Lohr wants that, and so I love the pressure that a Marvel Games brings to the table, for sure.
Yeah.
So in short, the Xbox celebrations are Blade, Hellblade 2, and OD with Hideo Kojima. Am I correct in saying that those are the big wins? And then the launch of Baldur's Gate, which wasn't spotlighted at the Game Awards, but did happen.
Yeah. Shout out to Larian for winning Game of the Year for Baldur's Gate 3. That was something that I think and I'm very proud of myself. I probably shouldn't be, but I was very proud of myself for saying that they were going to shadow drop it at the Game Awards. They intended to. The head of Larian was like, oops, I've been wearing a suit of armor all night, and I completely forgot to say that we're shadow dropping Baldur's Gate 3 on Xbox tonight. But yeah, that and unfortunately, maybe if they had more time, they would have been able to have had an opportunity to remember to mention it. Sadly, they only got like 30 seconds to be able to talk about how grateful they are for laboring over that game for so long.
That was and let's go ahead and transition to that. But I do want to say there were 3 Xbox games that won Game of the Year awards for something. Motorsport won Innovation and Accessibility, amazing, and also won Best Sports and Racing title, which surprised me, but very cool. And then Hi-Fi Rush was winner of Best Audio Design. And there were a couple other nominations that Xbox Studio had, but those are the big 3 wins from Xbox as far as Game of the Year is concerned. Starfield not even nominated, certainly ruffled some feathers. I saw a funny commercial. Did you see the commercial in the Game Awards? There was a commercial that was an accolade trailer of all these 9s and 10s about Starfield. And then it was like, congratulations to all the nominees and making great worlds and stuff like that. We do that as well. And then it was like Xbox Game Studios.
I mean, you want to talk about weird stuff? Like there was that as an advertisement for Starfield that didn't get nominations, and then the game that did get nominations that everyone thought was going to win something didn't win anything with Spider-Man 2.
Yep. That was Horizon all over again, man.
I mean, it's wild, dude. It's absolutely wild that that was the state of the Game Awards, and I don't know if you can write this off as like, oh, well, this is just what 2023 was. Like 2023 was just amazing, but at least one Sony first party title, well, not first party, exclusive, won something with best score for Final Fantasy 16. And I can't think if they got any other for Final Fantasy 16 or Final Fantasy 7. I don't think they did. So that was it. And honestly, like the fact that Nintendo won more awards, as far as I can recall, than Sony for the first time feels really weird, dude. Like Pikmin 4 won Best Sim, Mario Wonder won Best Family, and Zelda won Best Action Adventure. And that was more awards than Sony won for the 2 games that they put out. And I'm just like, dude, what timeline are we in right now?
It was strange. And there were a couple moments and this is, I don't know, this is the show where I'm like pulling up evidence and pointing to it, but there were a couple times where like Jeff would make a comment about like how hard game developers work and how difficult it is to be an indie game developer and just little like things, and then rush through a bunch of awards, not bring them on stage, or if they were on stage, get talked off. Like the music started playing 30 seconds in, which so for any listener that's not aware, didn't watch, every time a Game of the Year winner was allowed to come onto the stage, they were given only 30 seconds to speak before the music started playing them off. And it felt very rushed. And Keeley, to his credit, did tweet response to that criticism and saying that was too short. I did ask them to relax that rule as the show went on. And we're going to be looking at that going forward. But like, how in rehearsals do you not realize that's not enough time? While making Christopher Judge come out here, make a joke about how long his speech was, him still talk for a long time, and have 20 minutes dedicated to Kojima.
Yeah, I want to know, how long was Chris Judge joking about the fact that he was talking too much while talking too much?
Yeah, it was, and
meta,
very meta. And I thought he made it. So if any listener that didn't catch it, Chris Judge made a joke about his speech last year being longer than this year's Call of Duty campaign. And I thought that was hilarious. Mind you, I love Call of Duty's campaign. I enjoyed it. I had a blast with it. Totally is too short. Totally open for criticism. That was a funny joke.
You know, and I'm fine with making the joke. I think there were better jokes. Like,
do you?
I do. I think you could have made as many jokes about like bears in Baldur's Gate 3 that you wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's so many jokes, so many other areas that you could go to. Like, oh, I can't wait for Kratos to be showcased in Baldur's Gate 3 so I can get some of that tiefling junk.
I gotcha. Please stop there. But yes, I gotcha.
there's so many other things that and I'm talking about looting corpses, by the way, for the kids out there. There's don't, I know what you're thinking too. There's so many other jokes that you could have done, that digging on a company or digging on a team that was highly overpressured to deliver on a content delivery that was intended to be like a DLC for the game, feels like punching below the waist at that point. And I'm like, I'm okay if you want to joke or if you want to make a dig on someone that deserves it, because maybe that does kind of showcase like, hey, don't make Call of Duty an annual thing. It doesn't need to be an annual thing. It's a game as a service. You can release campaigns when they're ready and just update maps and guns and zones. That's fine.
Yeah.
So yes.
This is Anubis's question, but he asked us how we thought about Chris Judge and his joke about Call of Duty. It was Anubis saying that, and I want to give him credit for it. But so I heard two different takes on it because I thought the joke was funny. I think the problem with the joke came that wasn't the tone of the rest of the show, right? There wasn't like at the Oscars, there's some good ribbing, but there's a lot of awards coming up on stage, people thanking things, and that didn't match the tone of the show, which is a total bummer. Anthony Mackie was living his best life, presenting stuff. I really think he wanted some Keanu energy and it maybe just didn't land. But like, he was living his best life. Chris Judge was out there having fun. I heard a really good analogy that Chris Judge might have felt he was punching up to Call of Duty because Call of Duty is so massive and powerful as a brand. Whereas others were like, he's punching down because it's God of War with its such critical acclaim, punching at a game that didn't deliver. And honestly, I doubt it was even that thought out. It was just a funny joke, and it was what it was. And Chris Judge is an important figure in gaming, right? Not just that he's the voice of Kratos, but like he's become a symbol at the Game Awards in gaming. And I thought that was what was going on there. But I was kind of bummed. I didn't take it so personally that he was attacking a team that only had 16 months. And I just thought it was a dude laughing and being silly, trying to have fun.
Yeah, it's so hard to understand the between the lines, because at the end of his comment, he did say that's another company I'll never work for. And it's hard to know, like, is he saying that as like pretentious, like I'm never going to work for Call of Duty, so I'm okay punching this, punching the devs when they're down, or is that like, oh, I just burned a bridge, that's I'm never going to get a job working for them now. So it's hard to know like the context. And in that moment, I don't know what I would have done. I may have said the joke. I may not have said the joke. I don't even know if the joke was his or if it was something that he came up with on the fly. It's hard to know that kind of stuff, what goes on behind the scenes and stuff. But I think you're right that the tone, it's why the Oscars hire comedians, because they write jokes to roast stuff that's going on and make digs on nominees.
Mm-hmm.
Call of Duty wasn't nominated, man.
Yeah.
It's one thing to dig on the nominees for stuff and to make playful jokes about it, but Call of Duty was not in the conversation with anything right now, man. Like, that was not like that. Like, can we just leave them alone? Like, they're going through some shit right now. Sorry.
I did not take anything to be an Xbox versus PlayStation element there either.
No,
I didn't feel like anything there was console.
That's fanboy stuff.
I thought so too. Yeah, I was not bothered by.
It's not Kratos kicking Microsoft in the COD.
Yeah,
get it? Because it's
we got it.
Is the COD piece.
You proud of that one? Are you proud of that joke? You feel good about that? You want to keep that one? All right. But yeah, in short, I thought Jeff did. So to go back to the time aspect, I thought Jeff, who will always take the flack for these things, even if he's got a team, it's his show. I thought the amount of time spent on Chris Judge, Hideo Kojima, Matthew McConaughey, Gonzo, all came at the expense of celebrating the people that they were there for. And that goes against the very nature of what he himself said at the beginning, is that we need to celebrate the people that create these worlds and these games that we all play in. There is a balance to be struck between paying for the show with ads, spotlighting new games and bringing eyes to the show, because that's what new trailers do. That's what releases do, world premieres do.
Yeah.
But if you're going to be the Game Awards, you cannot be the E3 Showcase Part 2 or the Game Fest Part 2 or the Winter Game Fest or any other element. You do need to allow winners of awards to be spotlighted. And if Sydney Goodman's up there reading 6 winners at a time, which was last year more so, or if you're just rolling through, then I think that's a problem that needs to be addressed. And I do think, Logan, too many people are forgiving it, like, oh, he's going to work on it for next year. I think he's had enough goes at it that part should have been handled well.
I don't disagree, but I'm also being very forgiving because I'm trying to be empathetic with Jeff and his perspective. I'm not living in his shoes. I don't know what the stress is for him. I don't know the privileged life that he's got right now. What I will say is that if it came down to not having the Game Awards versus having the Game Awards in the state that it's in, I would rather have the Game Awards in the state that it's in, because at some level there's still some appreciation being done for the devs. But yeah, I do want to share my sentiment as well. I think that the bundling awards thing needs to stop. It's not fair to the devs that worked years for their audio design to be like shuffled in with best sim racer and best esports. Like, those things, it's like on the same level. Let's elevate those to actually be recognized. It's the same conversation that I've had about people with game developers and QA testers. QA testers are developers. They have to understand the game enough to be able to tell you what is wrong and communicate that with the designers, with the engineers. If they can't do that, the game's going to come out in a bad state. If you're not going to celebrate those people on the same level as Game of the Year, you're not really celebrating game developers. You're just kind of like, here's an award. You can stick it on your shelf. You can put it on the back of the box.
Mm-hmm. Big time. I saw, and I retweeted somebody, I think it was Josh Sawyer from Pentiment, commenting at how bothered he was by the nature of just skipping out on people getting a chance to celebrate and spotlight their game. And, there are side effects to not getting to talk about your game. There are side effects of getting to talk about your game. The woman, the Japanese woman who was so excited about, I don't remember what game.
Yeah, she was working for, she accepted the award for, I think, for Ghostwire.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah.
She accepted the award for Ghostwire and then got to spotlight her indie project at the Game Awards. Yep. That's huge for her and her team. Yeah. They will by default have celebration. You talked, I think it was in our voice chat, about Joseph Ferris, a small title, small developer getting to spotlight games, allowed it to eventually get It Takes Two Game of the Year, right?
Yeah.
The chance to be on stage or to talk can really do a lot for a company and for a franchise, for a game, for an IP, and not getting to can have its own repercussions as well, some of which we'll never know, others of which we have a very immediate response. How many people didn't know that Baldur's Gate 3 came to Xbox because they were music playing kind of ushered off stage? That was a thing that they were going to spotlight and celebrate, because that's a big win for that team. Yes, it's a big win for Xbox. You got a game of the year released, shadow dropped onto your console, but also that team had worked very hard to overcome technical issues with the Series S that is going to have industry ramifications. Like, other teams are now using the logic that they use to make magic happen on the Series S. Not getting to spotlight that came out is an issue.
Yeah. Not to mention, like, all of the people that have been showcased kind of through the years at the Game Awards have all had games that have won awards at this point. And that says a little bit to the validity of the Game Awards, in my opinion, due to the inherent nature that the Game Awards draws attention to those games. So when like Sean Murray comes out and announces his new game, his game has won like ongoing game in the past and has been nominated multiple times for best ongoing game for No Man's Sky. There are a lot of other games that are killing it as a service game right now that nobody's getting votes for, because nobody's playing those games, because those games aren't getting spotlighted in kind of things. Like, Xbox does a really good job of like doing the by the way, Elder Scrolls Online, Sea of Thieves, and Microsoft Flight Simulator are all getting updates this year. But nobody cares about those sections because those aren't fresh launches that are going to draw attention to their websites. And most people skip over those parts in the E3 presentation. And that's the moment where I'm like, how valid are these actual awards? How valid are they going to be? If you're going to elevate one thing, trying to elevate everything that actually won an award, as opposed to the thing you think is going to win an award in 3 years.
It's true. And, we talked about at the top of the show, the live service award, not the live service award, the ongoing game award.
Yeah.
And I'm really offended by Cyberpunk winning that, not because Cyberpunk doesn't deserve it. Goodness, it does. Like, or goodness, it deserves accolade and award. But ongoing game, that's not what that category to me should be. That should be those that are getting those events, that are supporting their community ongoing, right? That are doing right by a consistent influx of player bases and IP, which Fortnite, I think, needs to be consistently recognized, and it deserves to be. Epic may be doing some bad stuff lately, but Fortnite continues to impress. Does Call of Duty, does Sea of Thieves, does any other major franchise, Elder Scrolls Online. I mean, and you gave me the definition for ongoing game award to a game of an outstanding development and ongoing content that evolves around the player experience over time. I don't think that's Cyberpunk. I just don't. Maybe I'm wrong.
The definition gives it validity to it being possible in there. I don't think that is what the intent of that award should be. I disagree with what that game, like, best ongoing game should be best games as a service, and let that live as it is. Because I think Cyberpunk did not get its dues. It does deserve its dues, especially with Phantom Liberty. It's fantastic DLC. It belongs in like its own category for like RPG or action adventure or something like that. But because it's not a new game, there's nowhere to give it its flowers, because it didn't hit on launch. And they have worked hard on it, and they have brought out DLC for it, and they are continuing to update beyond the DLC. And who knows, like, they may surprise us with even more updates depending on how long Cyberpunk 2 takes to get out. And because of that, it's like, where do you stick it? Well, you want to give it something. Everyone wants to give it something, but they don't know where to put it, because there's too many RPGs that came out this year that actually are RPGs that do deserve to have their spotlight, and not just bundled in a list of other games and stuff like that. Agreed. So it's tough. And I don't disagree with your takes, but I am glad that it won something.
Fair. And I am too. I just think too many people were overlooked. because of the lack of clarity and in spirit of certain awards.
True.
Right. Not to mention the indie game controversy, which is, I'm ready to move on, but like I'm kind of done with that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we answered Clint Coombs' question. He wrote in asking if we felt that content creators or developers rather were cheated out of their time for speeches. And I think we've kind of addressed that one. I was confused by the Content Creator of the Year award being a VTuber. Maybe I'm old, but I don't know. Maybe it's whatever. There's no real. I don't really want to go into.
Yeah,
It's just odd.
if I think I would feel differently if it was someone who's like using a Muppet as their figurehead for the content creation. Because VTuber is a weird realm that like still hasn't really locked itself in as like the same as like seeing someone's face. Like there's a, I don't know. For me, it's a catfishing thing. Like I feel like I'm being catfished every time I see like a VTuber. Like I have no clue what you actually look like, but I have to move beyond that and accept that VTubers are just like if someone was using a puppet.
Yeah.
And that's it's just a medium thing at that point. It's the difference between going from 2D to 3D animation. It's just a change in medium. And I have to like accept like that's the thing. They worked hard on making that VTuber popular and interesting and unique and stand out beyond all of the other similar models that I've seen out there for VTubers. So whoever you are, I kudos to you, because I don't follow. That's not in my circle, but it was super weird, but it was also a precedent. I'm fine with that.
Fair enough.
And they got to accept their award.
Sure. Sure.
I mean, they weren't present, but they got to at least say something.
Yeah, that's fair. They did. You know who didn't? Most of the other award winners. But that's
exactly. It's things like that. It's like half dozen to one, six of the other. Like, why did this get time, but the other things didn't? It's like, it doesn't make sense. It's such a weird balance of who gets what time.
I want to loop back to Avatar and GTA 6, but I do think it's worth mentioning there are a lot of seasonal events or updates coming to a lot of Xbox properties and live service games. Diablo 4, which I've been full in on lately. It's getting its Greater Rifts and Christmas event. Halo Infinite, which is also another first party. It just got its firefight mode. I'm stoked to go into that. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 Season 1 just started as well. Again, first party Diablo,
Zombies,
first
baby.
Party Halo. Oh, I'm so
Let's go.
I love zombies. First party was Call of Duty. Sea of Thieves just got its Safer Seas update, which is a great place if you've got kids and you want to introduce them to Sea of Thieves. Do it. Safer Seas is the way to do it. That is 1, 2, 3, 4 Xbox owned games getting pretty big seasonal or event style updates, which is pretty cool, I think. And Fortnite just got three incredible updates next to its latest season. It has 3 video games built in it with the new Fortnite game creator tool. And I think they look dope. I think they look really cool. And
dude,
Rick in our chat was very not impressed by it. So I would talk about that because I thought it was dope.
Okay, so I got a chance to jump into the Lego Minecraft game, right? And I jumped in with a buddy. He's been hitting me up to kind of spend more time on it. There have been some weird things as far as like that game goes. It looks flipping amazing, dude. It looks so good. The Fortnite engine is just its lighting is so well done. I absolutely love the aesthetic of everything. I love like kind of the Lego brick nature of it. This is Minecraft and Breath of the Wild slammed together. Like there's building stuff, there's harvesting stuff, there's survival mechanics, but it's like they took bits of Breath of the Wild and they took bits of Minecraft and they slammed it together in Fortnite with a Lego IP over top of it, and it works really, really well in my opinion. I think they've done a really good job with it. It's accessible. There's some things that you gotta kind of learn and stuff like that, but once you kind of get the bread and butter of it and you kind of understand, then you can start sprinkling on some of the like the spices and herbs and stuff that you want to kind of really punch up the flavor. The only issue that I've really run into is my buddy and I loaded into his world, and he was way across the map at his village, and I spawned super far away, and I spent 3 hours trying to get to his village. And granted, he didn't come like, rescue me or anything like that. He could have, I don't know, figured out how to like craft clothes so I could weather the cold zones and stuff like that. But like Breath of the Wild has like a temperature gauge, right? And this has that as well too. Like there's hot spots, there's cold spots. You slow down if you get too cold, you take damage if you stay too long. But there's like a shield and swords and bows and stuff. You can block attacks, you can dodge, you can kill wolves, and you can pet sheep and get wool. There's just it's so deep, and yet it's understandable. Like it's conceptually like approachable, and I'm just really impressed with that. And I haven't gotten to jump into the harmonics stuff yet, and I haven't gotten to jump into the Rocket League stuff yet. But just looking at what like Fortnite has been able to do, it is clear to me that they realize that Battle Royale has a half-life. Like there is a expiration date on the genre Battle Royale as like the main thing, and they're now crafting worlds that are going to be in Fortnite, but very much like other games. The way they pivoted away from Save the World to PUBG with Fortnite, they're doing that now with Lego Minecraft and harmonics and Rocket Race or Rocket League and stuff.
I think it's neat.
Yeah.
I think it's cool to happen. And I know some people are not for it, but to me, this is giving a lot of cool elements. And if people are having fun with it, dope.
Yeah. Dope. The fact that it's all free.
Yeah.
It's all free. You don't have to buy anything.
I will say Fortnite's new menu system blows.
I don't like it either.
It's so bad.
Go back to the old one.
Those big games, Call of Duty, Fortnite, Destiny, a lot of them, you got a lot of information to give to your player the longer that you exist. The more features you add, the more cosmetics you add. Every game has to contend with that. So I understand the need to consistently update and address it. But man, I was just like, what is happening? It is bad. It is legitimately bad. And I really think they need to go back and readdress it. And it's clearly built in a new way to address some of these new games that are coming into it so you can find your cosmetics. But I hate it. I hate it.
Yeah, it's a problem. Even Sea of Thieves just introduced for themselves as well too. They've got like safer seas, and now the number of clicks you have to get into the game has gone beyond like the initial 3 that it started out with when the game launched to like 10. Mm-hmm. Now you have to go through 10 different menus if you want to start the game. It's like, okay, maybe there's a little bit of shaving we can do. Maybe like add multiple toggles to these things as opposed to separate menus, and you can just toggle what you want to do before you actually log in. Mm-hmm. But dude, it's tough. It's tough. I don't envy game developers for trying to have to figure that stuff out, because I don't know how you do it.
Yeah, me neither. Credit to you. Grand Theft Auto 6 got its first true trailer, not a leak. Somebody leaked it, and then less than an hour later, Rockstar was like, "Fine, here's the real one." They put it out there. Game looks technically incredible, full of its standard satire and stuff. I will say that I am not a Grand Theft Auto person. I don't actually like the
genre.
No, it's not the genre. The vibe. Like, I play video games to escape, and the amount of satire is too close to home for me. But that doesn't mean I won't play this game. Doesn't mean I won't try it on a technical level, laugh at the jokes and whatnot. But I guess it kind of bums me out that this is the most popular game ever kind of thing, and it's satirical, but I just sound like an old man yelling at a cloud, and I know it. I want hope and optimism and to be the hero.
I'm the lawful good one. Why do I have to play the bad person?
I never play the bad guy in games, so that's just me and my own quirkiness for sure. But I was really excited for this because I think it's going to have a ripple effect in the gaming industry on a number of levels. And so I thought this was cool. I'm excited for the tentpole element that this game is going to bring. everybody that moved out of the way of games in 2023 was wise. Whoever's in 2025, you better be real careful with what date you announce.
Yeah, because that game is that is the top 3 most viewed video on YouTube, and it's kind of nuts. Like it's had millions and millions of views at this point. I will say that the GTA 6 trailer accomplishes 2 main things. One, it shows the scope of the world, and 2, it shows actual gameplay. And it shows systems that we knew were going to be like hot button topics for when it came out. This is a next gen game, and I anticipate that they are building this as a platform as well too. But we've already seen examples of them showing that this is actual gameplay footage, that it does have ray tracing in it. It may be only 30 frames per second, but that may just be how they wanted to present the cinematic aspect of this. There's so much AI work going into this as far as trying to get humans to look human in a busy environment, that I was genuinely impressed with. Just like, if you walk down Cyberpunk, you'll see lots of people, but they're just walking. You know, you may have like a couple of people standing around or a couple of people sitting on the floor or something like that. But it's not complex, and you can quickly find the like where the system breaks. Like, someone will walk to a certain set in a world, and then they'll stop, they'll turn around, and they'll walk back right where they were. There's no purpose to their walking other than going back and forth from point A to point B. And that is localized around where the player is. And they will spawn in as a result of where the player is, and they will activate. And it's like rain. Rain is only around you in games. It's not everywhere in the world. It's just around you. And with this, GTA was showcasing how far they've come with people and having procedures, having schedules, having activities that they're doing, things that are keeping them engaged with something other than walking down a straight line and then turning around and walking right back.
Right.
And that was impressive to me.
Do you think that game developers are currently like picking this trailer apart to incorporate or adjust things that they're going to include in their own titles?
If they are, it's for titles that are very early in production, because I think that what they showcased is so routed deeply in the base of the engineering of the game that you would have to go back and rework a lot of what's going on. And there's a lot of like Rockstar magic right now in that trailer, based on like what I've seen with Red Dead Redemption 2. Everything that I saw in that trailer is feasible from that team, given the timeline that we have and what we've already seen. And I think that this is going to be one of those games that everyone looks at and thinks, this is how every single game from now on should do cities. And I think that is the takeaway that I got from it. The Bonnie Clyde story that we saw is going to be cool. I think that'll be really interesting. There was a really good fan theory that I saw that the story in the trailer is being played backwards, and that if you start from the end of the trailer and you go backwards through the trailer, you see like how they started on top, how they started to go with like how they were planning the heist. They did the heist, and then it just derailed after that, and they got caught. They were being chased, and then she ended up in jail. And that was a really good theory.
That's a good theory.
But overall, I would say that the point of what this trailer did was to set the stage for the expectation that this is going to be Vice City. It's fantastic. It was one of the best. Grand Theft Auto 3 was one of the best games that ever came out. Really opened up open world games and showed what could be done. Vice City was the refinement of that process in a 80s aesthetic that was great. This is 2023 Vice City, and I think it's really cool to see like how big the cities are, how good they look, all the different environments, all the different vehicles that are potentially going to be in it, all the different people that are going to populate it, the variedness of those people too, the way they look. It's not just like the same Bethesda human model at the same Bethesda human height.
Right.
They're like, these are actual looking human beings. And that is a distinction that I found with Cyberpunk to a point that I was impressed with at first, but now seeing the GTA trailer, I'm like, they've gone a step further, and that is something that I think is really impressive.
Are you bothered that it's been announced so early?
Yeah, 2 years is a pretty heckin' long time, but it's clear that they've got a lot done, and it makes sense. It's been a long time since Red Dead Redemption 2, so now it's kind of like the announcement trailer of them like doing a Grand Theft Auto 6 game.
Mm-hmm.
And I think now's a good time to go quiet.
Mm-hmm.
And let's start spinning up the conversation again at the Game Awards for 2024.
So stay quiet, don't show anything next summer, but Game Awards is their best bet. I agree with you. I don't want to see them at E3, given how much spotlight it will hog just by its very nature.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of my take on that one, because had they been at Game Awards, that's all anyone would have talked about. And I have to wonder why they weren't, by the way. Very strange.
Didn't need to.
Yeah, but
didn't need to. I was 100% wrong about them needing the Game Awards. Boy, was I wrong.
So is there any... I'm thinking. Is there
190
the fact that maybe they had a falling out with Keeley or anything like that?
I very potentially so. Like I will not write that off as like that's not the reason. That's not why they didn't do it. I think it's because they sold 190 million copies of their GTA 5, and everyone knows what GTA is, and the fact that they're slapping a 6 on it and making it next gen is enough to warrant being able to say like we can have the day, like everyone's going to be talking about the Game Awards. We can monopolize the entire rest of the week with GTA conversation by releasing the trailer on our own. And it worked too, dude. Like everyone was talking about GTA for the next 3 days. And it was, that's all that dominated the news cycle. And to the point where people were like, is there an Avatar game coming out this week? And other people were like, yeah, there's an Avatar game coming out this week. And they're like, huh, I didn't hear about that. It's like, maybe because there was GTA 6.
It was very under-marketed.
Yeah. I'm still seeing a lot of marketing for it too. That's the weird thing.
It maybe just where I'm at, I'm not seeing it.
Yeah.
But you've played it. We did not get a review code for it. And just, I'm gonna be honest, I'm enjoying enough games right now that I don't really feel the need to play it at the moment, even though I do love Avatar, but I guess I didn't like Way of Water enough to send me to it. How much have you played of it?
I've only gotten, I'd say maybe like an hour and a half, 2 hours into it.
What do you think?
Very little. This is the Private Division team, or this is the Division team, not Private Division. That's a publisher. This is the Division team. Their take on what a Far Cry game would be in Avatar. Playing through the tutorial, which is kind of like the prologue to the game before you kind of get full control over what's going on. They're just kind of setting the stage. This takes place. It starts off right at the end of the first film. And then it skips forward a fair amount of time. And you actually grow up as a result. Like you start out as a kid, Na'vi, and then time passes, you come out, you're older. And when you come out, you can tell like this is before the second film, but you're still kind of in the forest with the Na'vi and the different tribes and stuff like that. This game is beautiful. I'm playing on my PC, which has the nice graphics to an extent. Like I'm still operating on my old GPU, which is the 1080 that I've got. But the rest of the system's all up to date. And I really love the way this game looks. They've done such a good job of honoring the actual world that James Cameron's built and bringing a canon-based story to that world that is rooted with a lot of what you would want. Like there are guns that you can use. There are bows and arrows. You do get, your banshee. You do get to fight in dogfights in the sky. You do get to kind of like work with mother. You actually get to commune
Awa.
with nature.
Awa's the
thank you.
mother. Yeah, I do like Avatar.
Yeah, but I mean, this is one of those ones. It's like it doesn't have the controversy around Hogwarts Legacy, but if you look at Hogwarts Legacy as a testament to taking a world and translating it properly from an IP, Avatar has done this, and I think that it's going to get Titanfall 2'd the way I don't want it to, because I think this game is going to be showcased in future like PC updates when they're like, hey, we've got the new graphics card and Cyberpunk 2077's out. Avatar is in. This is the game that we're going to tell you is the bee's knees on how to benchmark your GPU. And it deserves it because it's absolutely fantastic. I really want to get back to it, but I'm having to juggle Baldur's Gate 3 and Avatar right now.
Right.
During a time where you want to play Diablo 4 because of the new content. I want to play Call of Duty because of the new content. I want to play Sea of Thieves because of the new content. We still haven't even gotten to touch Firefight. I've been barely dipping my toe into Fortnite with you guys. It's just, there's so much.
I haven't touched Fortnite either.
Yeah, there's so much right now that's going on that it is extremely difficult to try and like figure out where I'm going to put my hours in for gaming, that I might have to ignore a couple people for nights to play so that I can actually kind of jump into these single player games. Because I've also got like Heroes of the Storm that's like my bread and butter, but then I've got World of Warcraft that I'm leveling a character in Season of Discovery. There's too much. Logan needs to be a full-time creator so that Logan can play all these games, because Logan does not have time after work.
That's the I think the frustration and the scary part is simply put, there is so much happening, and I think that's just the nature of games now, this quality. It's also why the industry is struggling to keep up with itself, because they've pushed themselves into such an expensive area of having to deliver top tier quality. I'm curious how Microsoft is going to manage all these live events across their games. Are they just going to let each studio do its own thing? Fine, no problem.
Yeah,
but like that's going to be a lot to manage, right? How do you spotlight and give due credit where things are deserving and needing it?
Did y'all know there's an update to Fallout 76 this week?
Oh my God, is there really?
Because they introduced a whole DLC expedition called Atlantic City. 3 new factions, bunch of quests, new gear, new season pass, whole bunch of cool stuff. Guess who tried to find time to actually jump into it?
Nobody but its most diehard. Did you really try to find time?
Yeah, I did. I got the quest done that I needed to with the faction that I can't think of off the top of my head on White Spring, and I got my expedition, and I was like, I don't have 3 people to go with me, so I'm kind of scared that I'm going to get, really just murdered in this new zone. So I tried to get in there, but I was like, okay, I'm just going to hold off. I claimed my free Atom Store stuff, and I jumped in, got prepped for it. And then I'm going to wait till I can get some friends who are higher level than me to, or better meta'd out as far as the meta goes, to jump in there. Cause I want to go in with, for Atlantic City. It's really cool.
All right. So work with me here. Call of Duty, Halo, Diablo, Sea of Thieves, Elder Scrolls Online, Warcraft now. What else does Xbox have that they're managing live? Fallout 76. What 76. Other live service style games do they have? That's 7.
Motorsport. Trying to think what else they've got.
I wouldn't count Flight Sim in this case.
No.
I wouldn't count Horizon.
Horizon's kind of at the end of it. Yeah.
Those are not live service style, I don't think.
I think that's
still 7.
Yeah, 7. I think that's all of them. I can't think.
When you say it like that, doesn't it match how Sony was trying to get like X amount of live service games?
Yeah. They had 12 projects, and I think like 8 of them were the ones that are going to be like focused on.
It's just that's an interesting approach now, given what's under their banner. That's a lot to manage, as much as it is a lot to generate income and interest.
State of Decay 2. Still getting updates. Had an
I
update
still
this week
live
too.
service though. Is that live service?
Yeah.
Or is that Cyberpunk?
No, that's live service.
You think it's live service? Okay. I'm not arguing that point. I'm just in my mind, right?
Yeah, they just had another update. That's a new update in 4 weeks.
And in 2024, we know the four tentpole titles at the moment. Although I question Towerborn's ability to be a tentpole, but then outside of those 4, we have South of Midnight, Clockwork Revolution, State of Decay 3, Fable, Perfect Dark, Avowed.
Outer Worlds 2 is a way out.
Outer Worlds 2 is a way out, yes. Side note, Private Division, who made published first Outer Worlds and the Ori games, they had a cool game announced from the Ori developers at Moon Studios. There's another few, but we know that's just 7 off top of our head, and I'm sure listeners are knocking out more. So we know 4 for next year and 7 more that are on the way. Everwild, if you count that one, at 8. So like my point is, we know a lot about Xbox's future, and only 4 of them are for next year at the moment.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I am checking right now because I'm pretty sure there's one more live service game that we didn't mention. Yes, November 13th. Grounded came out with update 1.3.0. That's Playground mode, 400 plus building items, basketball changes, new Burgle quest systems, and more.
That is 9 games.
And I'm sure we're probably skipping on something unintentionally.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%. There's a lot, and Xbox is in a very good position that I just don't think they get the credit for. Right. Too often people associate credit coming at the expense of competition. I don't think Xbox doesn't get credit at the expense of PlayStation or vice versa or anything, but like Xbox deserves more credit for what they're doing for their gaming base.
And how many of the games that we just listed as games as a service were nominated for best ongoing game?
None.
Xbox tax.
Xbox tax. You're right. It's so clear. I see it now, Logan. I see it now. Oh my god. I mean, sure, media bias here and there, sure, but that's just the nature of media.
I don't even think in this case in particular, I don't think it's actually media bias. I think it's media attention and clicks. I think best ongoing game is solely derived from what websites are getting traffic for as a live service. And if nobody writes about those updates, they don't get clicks.
It's true.
So nobody thinks about them.
It's true. All right, let's knock out some listener questions here, because and like, honest to God, we could go double this amount of time. There's just enough to break down. But let's answer a couple questions here. Let's see. We've covered those. I feel like Todd Oxtra had a question. Is it disappointing that Xbox didn't cement their front half release schedule at the Game Awards? Also, why not say Blade is an Xbox exclusive, which we answered that part. But the front half schedule at the Game Awards is disappointing that while we know 4 of them for next year, Logan, we don't know what's in the front half. I have my thought, and I'm gonna. Well, let me say mine, and then you take it.
Yeah. I want to hear your thoughts on this.
Is it disappointing? No. In the release window, no, because it's not like we know PlayStation's first half of the year or whatnot. And we just listed all these updates to Xbox titles, right? Like, Xbox is cooking right now. They're doing a lot, and some of these games just need time to breathe. Counterpoint to my own point is that we only have 4. I don't think Towerborn or Flight Sim are worthy of being industry tentpoles, despite them being relevant to their communities. We've got expansions next year for Starfield and Redfall. Likely some content coming ongoing live service style for Motorsport, which we kind of addressed. I think Xbox has a lot in the hopper. Why talk about it right now? The only thing I would have said was Starfield should have had a trailer for its expansion at the Game Awards to bring eyes to Starfield. But, it is what it is. I'm not disappointed by it. I don't think we need it right now. I do think we need a showcase of some kind for Xbox in January, February. March is too late.
I tweeted at Phil about this. I wish I had gotten a response because what we got in January of 2023 on the 25th was this amazing developer direct. It showcased 5 different studios that were all working on titles that were all updates or fresh games. And one of them was a Shadow Drop nominated for best audio design and won. And I'm hoping that they will repeat this. I'm hoping that we're going to get another developer direct in January that will kind of give us the dates, because that's exactly what that did. It gave us the Redfall date. It gave us the year for Forza Motorsport. It gave us the summer release for Elder Scrolls update, and it gave us the release date for Minecraft Legends, and then it dropped Hi-Fi Rush.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping, and this is kind of why I think they didn't address the solidifying the first half of 2024. I'm hoping that we're getting another developer direct, because the last one was amazing, and it would be great to hear from devs about the games that they're working on and see their passion for it, and see like what's going to be locked down for 2024.
I bet you that's exactly what's going to happen, Logan. The moment you said it, I'm like, oh, I'm with Logan. I bet you that's exactly what's happening.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Because I think it worked really well.
Yeah, you're nailing it. That's exactly what's going to go on. Yeah, that's exactly. And at this developer direct event, you give me the date for your first Redfall expansion. You talk about the Starfield expansion. You talk, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You show these things, as well as maybe a spotlight on Clockwork Revolution, or how's development going on South by Midnight. You know what I mean? Like, that's exactly what you do. Yes.
I hope so.
Good on you. Good choice. I agree. Yeah. Also, is Killer Instinct a thing? Because they just did that big update, and then you're saying what? You know?
Exactly. Xbox tax. Let's go.
That's right. That's right. I'm outraged personally.
It is a shame, because that game, you wanted me to get some B-roll for it, which did I actually give you the B-roll for that?
You sure did. Yep.
Okay.
And I played a little bit myself.
I was surprised how much fun I had going back in there. And there's an easy mode in there for button mashing people like myself, who were just like, this feels good. I don't care what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't even know why I'm trying to pretend like I know what I'm doing. I'm just hitting a button, and it's fun. And it was popping achievements like nobody's business, man. I was just like, here, you want an achievement? Oh, hey, you played that character. Congratulations. There's an achievement. I was like, yes.
Yeah, it was a good time. That was a good time. I encourage guys to go check it out. Also, Street Fighter 6 won Game of the Year. I love that. Was my pick that's on my list for Game of the Year. Like, we'll talk about our Game of the Year when we've had time to digest. Right. Yeah, soon. End of the month or whatnot. Because we're not beholden to a schedule like some. We'll also do the XEP awards, which are like hidden gems of the year. So listeners, if you've got hidden gem ideas, you can email them to us, InsipidGhost@gmail.com, or jump in our Discord and DM them to us so we keep them, and we don't get lost in the chat. But if you have hidden gem awards for the year, please send them. I know you and I are going to talk about Immortals of Avium in that one for sure. But like the games that maybe just shy of 8s on the Metacritic, but that people should play, we'll do something like that. Well, we've got refinement to do there. We've just been busy. But we're going to use our platform to celebrate the games that we found the fun in, or maybe some people didn't.
Yeah. Find the fun awards.
Yeah. There you go.
Also, the fact that they're bringing Lohr from Spy X Family is nuts for Street Fighter 6, because that is a very, very popular character in anime right now. And the fact that she's making her crossover with Street Fighter 6 it's a huge deal that I know it goes completely over your head. But the fact that Capcom managed to get that character from Spy Family it's like it fits perfectly, and it works. And it's like watching Omni-Man in Mortal Kombat. It's just like, that works somehow. I don't know why. Or like the boys characters in Call of Duty. Like, it's just it works. I don't know why, but it's perfect. And the fact that they got that is so crazy.
I agree. I'm excited.
All right.
All right, man. I think that's it for us. What do you think?
Oh,
it was a good
so
episode.
much I wanted to say that
we didn't.
Don't have.
Yeah,
we didn't get.
We didn't get to. There was a big week. It was a big week.
Yeah.
So
I'm looking forward to jumping into talking about Avatar and Baldur's Gate 3 in the future.
Agreed.
I think there's definitely stuff to be said there.
And if we left something out, listeners, please put it in the comments. You guys were amazing on YouTube last week. Of course, our Discord always keeps us honest. They do a fantastic job. They are the highlight of my week every week. I kid you not. Just the absolute best. So I'm grateful to all of them. So, guys, you can find me on Twitter at InsipidGhost. Same over there on Threads. I'm enjoying talking to all of you guys there. And of course, you can find XEP on all your podcast platforms of choice. If indeed you have the ability to like, subscribe, rate, or share it to anybody, it really means the world to help XEP reach the good people that we get to talk to. So we appreciate you guys there. Logan, where can people find you on the old socials?
Over at Threads and X at CAPT_LOGUN. Otherwise, you can find me in the Discord for the patrons, hanging out with them. And yeah, just keep an eye on Keelhauled. If you have any questions about Safer Seas, feel free to let me know. I'll try and field as much as I possibly can, or give any tips or hints on ways to kind of like ensure that you don't sink or lose your loot in Safer Seas to something random. So I'm there as a resource if you guys have any questions or concerns.
There you go. All right, everyone. That's going to be it for us. Have a fantastic rest of your week. Take care.